Coming up on Theatre Talk.
And the Harry Potter thing
That's finished.
That's finished, right?
I was in that for 7 years or something.
That was enough.
Oh, no, well, not enough money.
Theatre Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. From New York City, this is Theatre Talk. I'm Susan Haskins.
And I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post. Now, Susan, there is an absolutely terrific production of a rarely seen Beckett play called All That Fall. Rarely seen because I believe it began as a radio play, but now it's staged.
And Beckett would not allow it to be staged.
Yes, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But don't miss it for the two fine, fine actors who are starring in All That Fall at 59 East 59th Street. One of my favorite actresses of all time. I've been an admirer of this woman since I saw her in A Room of One's Own so many years ago, produced by our friend Arthur Cantor. EILEEN Atkins, who's also one of our favorite guests on Theatre Talk. She's been here many times. Welcome back, EILEEN. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
And an actor that I have admired since I was a kid in London, and I saw him as Eddie Carboni in A View from the Bridge. And also I saw you in Uncle Vanya around the same time, too, with Greta Scacchi, right?
Scacchi, yeah.
That's right. Michael Gambon, welcome to Theatre Talk.
Thank you.
Good to see you all. Now, as Susan said, this began as a radio play. This was a radio play. And if we're not mistaken, Beckett left explicit instructions that it was never to be performed on stage. So you've circumvented this, EILEEN? You've just thrown...
Well, I haven't.
It's not your fault.
Trevor Nunn has
director,
circumvented it.
And why?
Yes. Well, I met Trevor in the street, and we went and had a coffee, and he said he would look for a play for me. And then literally a few days later, this came up, and he said, we finally think we've got the permission to do this, but it was only on the understanding that we did it as if it was a radio play, which means we can't be in a big theatre.
Right.
We must be in a small theatre that can give the impression of just a very large studio that happens at one end. There are mics
with microphones above
and radio,
and you have scripts.
So we we must have scripts.
Who gives the permission?
The nephew of Samuel Beckett.
And you must look down the scripts.
We must look down. I get told off a lot for not looking down. You know.
I look down because I have to. I don't know the line.
Now, in this play, you play a husband and a wife, the Rooneys, I believe.
Yeah.
There's some tragedy in the play that we don't want to talk about, but can you give us a sense of who these people are, Michael, what their relationship is?
I think that's a middle-class couple. They're not, they're better than the others who are ordinary people around them, and they do quite well. But they're always rowing, aren't they? Like any married couple, row and irritated and having a go at each other. That's all we do through this, isn't it?
Absolutely.
we try to make it a bit, I'm constantly touching, so I think that calms it down a bit. Okay, makes it sound more real.
Right, right.
And he's blind.
He's blind, yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
That's right, you do have a stick there, Michael.
Yeah, but I can't be blind and have a script.
But you must look down at it.
It really floors me. I don't know what to do in the play. The play's been successful, but I don't know how, because I'm pretending to be blind like that. I close them, and then I look down. I read the line. Then I'm touching. I don't know what's going on, but it's quite successful, I think.
Well, very few people can do all those things. In fact, I don't know any actor who's done that before.
Well, no,
been blind, convinced
and not
everyone
blind at the same time.
Exactly.
I think I'm the only one who's ever done that.
Only
and not say, my God, my sight has been restored every time I look at my script.
Yeah.
But this couple, they fight quite a bit, but we get a sense that they really can't live without each other. Do you have that feeling?
They're like most old couples. I hate to say it. But most people are like Mr. and Mrs. Rooney in a way, who've been together for 50, 60 odd years, you know. I mean, these two have certainly been together for 50 years. You know, people get at each other, are vaguely fond of each other, can't do without each other.
Is this the first time you guys have worked together?
No.
No, we've done quite a few, haven't we?
Yeah, I'd done I played The Unexpected Man with Michael in
right.
London.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And
here you did it with Alan.
yes, then we did a Pinter where you were a vicious person.
Pinter, yeah.
I only had 2 lines.
Now, in this play, you're 2 older people.
Yeah.
You're playing 2 older people, and it's awfully grim. Your lives are depicted as awfully grim, and one thinks about whether or not you'd just as soon like to escape your life. Am I getting the wrong sense?
Well, yes, but I feel that Mrs. Rooney enjoys. She's someone who sort of enjoys moaning.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself quite enjoy moaning. And I understand it, you know. Maggie Smith once said that I was a moaner, and I thought, who's talking?
Yeah, she can stop. That's all she ever does.
It's rather enjoyable. You know, it really, you know, I know it's a very non-American thing, but it's probably a rather British thing, and it's probably something to do with our weather. But we do like saying, oh, well, you won't see any sun today.
Yeah.
Oh, it is an American thing as well.
Is it?
Oh, well, Mrs. Rooney keeps on saying, oh, the best of the day is over.
Yeah.
That's right. And nothing pleases her.
No, nothing pleases her. But it's also, it sounds awful, but I find it a very funny play.
Yes. No, it is. It has there are a lot of laughs on the way to the sadness, as Beckett often points out.
It's like, to me, it's just like life. It's difficult and preposterous to have to cope with it, and it's also funny, and it's also touching. It's a bit of everything.
Were you familiar with this play, Michael, when Trevor brought it to your
No,
attention? You hadn't heard it on the radio, or?
No, I've never heard of it. I've done a few Beckett plays, but Trevor approached me in the same street.
He just hangs out waiting for you guys to
Hey,
walk.
I mean, I was sitting there having a cup of coffee outside, and he came up and said, do you want to do a play down in the West End? I said, oh, yeah, all right. And anything he asks you to do, you do it, because he's famous.
And what were your impressions of this play when you first got the script?
Well, I just thought it was very interesting. Good stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But doing it without reading it, with having to read it, was a bit worrying. I thought, I'm still worried today about it. Because I never quite, when I go on with the script, I'm sorry to keep talking about
No,
this.
it's all right. Yeah.
I never know whether to look at you or look at the script.
Can't Trevor help you at all?
No, no help at all.
What did he say to you?
He almost said to me, never don't look at it. Never look up. He said, hold the script like that.
Yeah.
He said, hold it there and keep your head up so the audience can see you. And you hold the script there like that, so you go like that. I think, oh, I can't do that. And then I've got a stick as well, a big stick. So it's the stick, and I'm holding hand. And then I have to walk funny. It's very complicated.
Aren't you supposed to be a radio actor?
Yeah, radio actor.
So you're the radio actor.
I have done radio
dealing with these levels. Not a blind radio actor.
You can just do what you like, because they can't see you, can you? You know, whenever I've done radio acting, I muck about a lot. Everyone does.
Well, yeah. I couldn't play the part if it was a real radio, because she's supposed to be so enormously fat.
Oh, right, that's right. Of course, I forgot.
She can hardly walk.
That's right.
So,
Can't imagine you being fat.
no, I've never been fat.
No.
But I always think that if I was really fat, they couldn't laugh about my fatness, which you have to laugh because she's too fat to get in the car.
Oh, that's interesting. That didn't occur to me, because I thought, Eileen looks pretty good shape to me.
Yeah.
And she's having trouble getting into the car, but I realized the character's supposed to be fat, and that's why
supposed to be fat.
they have to lift her up.
But it's good that you didn't think of that, because
No,
it looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, oh, this woman she looks all right until she moves around, then she turns out to be decrepit in some
And
way.
that's supposed to be her infirmity.
I pretend it's my knees that won't work.
Yeah.
It's the best way.
It's a very comic bit, though, you getting in and out of the car.
Well, it's quite fun. It makes a change. And you do have things like that. And oddly enough, I did a radio recently, and I had to have a bed scene with somebody, and they said to me, now, would you mind getting in the bed and taking some clothes off? And I said, well, it's radio. And he said, no, but we like skin on skin for a love scene.
What?
So I had to go down to a sort of tiny T-shirt, and the bloke took his top off, and we were sort of, it was ridiculous, because we were just rubbing arms on backs.
Who was the guy? Who was the lucky guy?
I forgot. Oh, lovely man, Nicholas Le Prevost.
Oh, he's great.
Not that man who loves you, the sexy guy you did the movie with, who
Oh no, don't let's talk about that. But the
We've talked about it once there. I can't
darling
remember.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, right? Who was
one of the most brilliant young film actors.
He's
going.
still after you, I think.
There'd be something really wrong with him if he was still after me.
At the end of the play, there's a circumstance which we will not divulge, but it's very mysterious and troubling, and terribly sad.
Yeah.
But Beckett had never explained it. Have you made up an explanation for yourself, Michael, because it involves you, of exactly what happened on the train?
I go too far in it. In the script it says he groans. Mm-hmm. I'd cry and I'd drop down and I whine like an animal having lost a child. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure that's not what Beckett wanted.
I don't know.
He didn't write that in the script, but I do it anyway, and then Beckett's dead now, so it doesn't matter. You can't see me.
So do you explain the mystery of the ball? I'm not giving anything away. Do you explain that to yourself?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't really understand that. Mm-hmm. But I think it's quite good at the end of a play like this to have a real bit of tragedy. Mm-hmm. And then the more you do,
an expression of real pain.
Yeah. Then it sort of completes the role, doesn't it, of the drama.
Yeah. Well, it comes. I mean, it's hinted at throughout the play, but there's a lot of humor until you get there, and then there's that shift in tone when this horrible thing that we won't give away happens.
Reality sometimes comes up, doesn't it?
Very quickly. Yeah. Since we have two of our finest actors around, I want to talk to you a little bit about your background and acting. EILEEN, if I am not mistaken, were you not a tap dancer?
Yes, absolutely.
As a kid, yeah. So did you started out sort of in?
I did working men's clubs. I don't know what the equivalent of is in working men's clubs, I guess, in America.
So you were a little girl just entertaining guys drinking beer?
Yes, it was disgusting. Yeah, probably pedophilia was rife, I should think. Oh. Yes, I did it from the age of 7. I actually, my greatest performance as a tap dancer was at the Stage Door Canteen when I was 8 for the American GIs.
In London?
In London, and that was and I was a big hit with the Americans. I think that's when that first gave me my real taste of liking America.
Did your mum and dad put you on?
Did they push you on?
My mother.
Mrs. Worthington, sort of?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they were furious when I stopped dancing and only wanted to act. And they didn't like that at all.
What was your big number?
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Can you still do it to
and
this
I
day?
toe tapped on a drum.
Oh my God. And then when did you, what age did you think, enough of toe tapping on a drum, I want to be taken seriously as a performer?
I was 12 and I was still earning money, so it was very hard because I used to help the family, we didn't have any money.
You didn't come up money.
So my money gave us, cakes on Friday. It was when I was 12 and 13, there started to be real arguments, and then, luckily for me, I accidentally got into a very good school, and the school told my parents they really mustn't make me go out and do clubs at night. So.
Did your parents accept that eventually, or did they carry resentment?
They did. They made me leave school at 16, though, because they said they couldn't have me go to university, which I would like to have gone to. So, but I went to drama school, which was very lucky. Mm.
And now, Michael, if I understand correctly from what I've heard about your background, you had no proper acting training, no drama school,
none
right?
at all.
You were working as an engineer?
I left school when I was 15 in Camden Town, of an Irish family. I'm Irish, my mum and dad and my brothers are all Irish. And I went straight into engineering as an apprentice for 7 years. You have to do 7 years. Mm-hmm. As precision engineer tool making. I loved that. I really loved it. And at the end of that, I wanted to be an actor, showing off. And so I just went to see people.
How did that happen, though? I mean, how are you sitting around being an engineer one day and you think, geez, I'd like to be on stage and show off?
You could do that then, but you couldn't do that now. It's much more difficult.
Was it amateur theater groups or something like that?
Yeah, that sort of thing, around Camden Town, and telling lies about what I'd been in, and in order to get jobs.
Really? So you lied about, you made up your resume?
Oh, yeah. I flew to Dublin years ago to see Michael McLearmore, and I'd made up a complete resume of my career, and I'd included 2 West End hits. But he never even looked at it.
Do you remember what plays you put yourself in?
Oh, there's lots of things, but the ridiculous thing was I was just a walk-on part in Dublin, as though I'd accept that, having been a star in the West End. He just glanced at it and threw it on the table. He said, "Well, you want to start Mondays?" I said, "Oh, all right, yes, thank you very much." And that's all really. And then I just wheedled my way into various jobs, and then did an audition for Olivier and got into the National as a spear carrier.
Yes, you were standing on the stage holding a spear during Olivier's
You stood that. We
Othello.
just stood at the back of the stage with a spear or whatever they call it, standing like that. You can not allowed to move while the actors do the acting.
But that must have been, I mean, with no proper training, that must have been the best training to stand and watch Olivier.
Yeah, you just watch or copy other people. It's a matter of copying in the end, and then real acting creeps in a few years later, doesn't it? But initially, you just copy people.
Huh. You agree with that, Eileen?
Yeah, I don't think you need it. I actually didn't do a drama course. I did a teacher's course to teach drama. And then when I got there, nobody noticed which lessons you went into. So I went into lots of drama lessons. But I honestly don't think you learn anything at drama school. You don't learn anything until you start doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Who did you copy?
I copied Dame Peggy Ashcroft a bit.
Really? And were you
Because
in a play with her?
As soon as I got to the RSC, I was a walk-on at he was a walk-on at the National, I was a walk-on at the RSC. And I was very taken with Peggy Ashcroft and Edith Evans.
Oh, yeah. Can you sort of give us a specific example of something that either one of them did that impressed you as a young actress that you thought, oh, I'm going to put that in my grab bag of tricks?
Yeah.
Not really, but I was deeply impressed that Peggy Ashcroft could play Rosalind when she was 57. And I can remember thinking, oh, that's pretty good that she can pull off that and make us all think she's young.
Yeah. And you, Michael, anything from
You're
Olivia?
constantly watching other actors, and you just sort of copy them, don't you? And then as you grow older, it becomes part of you. I mean, I understudied lots of famous characters. You know, you had to just understudy in a big play at the National, and then Olivier watched the understudy rehearsal, and he said to me, when you do your acting, he said, don't look at the person you're talking to. I couldn't quite. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you're looking at the other actor all the time while you're acting. It's very good acting, but you've got to look out front as well. So just do a few lines there and then do 10 out that way, as though you're talking to them. He's quite right, of course, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a brilliant bit in Michael Blakemore's book about Larry Olivier doing exactly that to make sure that the audience sees him completely from both sides.
You travel round. You have to do the Olivier at the moment. It's a big, wide theatre.
Yeah, if they don't
so
see
you've
your
got to
face.
throw some lines out. That's not a very good example, is it? But
No, but I know what you mean.
Something like that.
I suppose, though, I mean, in some ways that would come from Olivier's world of the old actor-manager, who, before there were directors, those big famous guys, keen like that, they would take center stage, push everybody aside, and deliver the big speeches right full on to the audience.
Yes. I don't know if it does. I think it's just, I mean, now when you act, it's just intuitive with me, looking out front, even when you're talking to, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not too much.
Aware of the
Aware
fourth
of
wall.
us.
Yeah.
Right now, we have Harold Pinter's Betrayal with Daniel Craig on Broadway.
Yeah.
You were in the original production,
I was.
Betrayal, were you
Yeah.
not? What did you make of the play? Do you recall?
I love the play.
Love the play?
I love it. It's a
Was one of my
beautiful,
favourite
beautiful
evenings in
play.
the theatre.
But and so at the time when you got the script,
Yeah.
um,
I thought I was the luckiest man in the world. I'd been in a play in the West End, and I was asked by Harold to go to the National to do that. And I loved that.
Oh, I love that production. I
It's so
love that
beautiful.
play.
And when I saw the photograph recently in a newspaper here of the production on at the moment, I got worried
Why?
because they were wearing the wrong clothes. I shouldn't have said that.
well,
No, it's all right. Well, you haven't seen it, so. But when I will tell you, they're wearing modish, if you would, I would say, clothes of that period. Modish.
What I saw in the paper didn't look right to me.
Well, Daniel
The set
Craig.
didn't look right to me.
Daniel Craig does look a bit like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever with his flare
Because
pants.
these are three Hampstead people, quite posh, and I don't think they would have dressed like that. Anyway, I shouldn't have said that.
Is it the 70s or the 60s it's supposed to take place?
well, it starts in the 60s and then goes.
That's
goes
it,
on.
That's it. I
Backwards,
mean,
forwards.
I was trying to remember which years it was, but it was a very special time.
1968.
They were.
yeah.
I mean, let's face it. You would have an affair in Britain then, and even though it's your best friend, it's repressed, isn't it?
Oh yes,
And I think it's hard to do now because of that. People don't understand, A, the time, the 60s and 70s, and B, British repression.
It's quite serious.
So I think it's quite hard to take it today.
Well, you had that tension, too, in that play of the British repression, but also that brief period of the swinging 60s, where things opened up for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then kind of closed down again when the economy fell apart.
Yes, you swung, but you also kept very polite about it.
Harold knew all about that play, didn't he, when it was always so wonderful.
Oh, yes.
It was autobiographical.
It was
All
real.
about him and, you know.
Yeah, Michael.
We only have a few minutes left, and it is the 50th anniversary of the National Theatre, and you guys both have worked extensively there. Eileen, you said before we started taping that you're the only actress who's worked under every director except for the current director,
Yes,
Nick Heitner.
I worked under Laurence Olivier, under Peter Hall, under Trevor Nunn, under Richard Eyre, and I just snuck in. I mean, I was in a play there when Heitner took over, but he's been there 10 years and not asked me to do another one, so I guess he didn't like it.
Have you ever gone around and said, hello, I'm here, Nick, I'd love to work again on the...
No. I've done very well in everything I've done there, so I'm not gonna. I don't think I have to go around.
It's purely accidental, that.
There are lots of other places to work apart from the National, but they've all done very well there. It's been a brilliant success, the National Theatre, and Michael will tell you it was a fantastic celebration of it.
We were all crying.
You were there for the 50th anniversary.
Oh,
It's been
yeah.
broadcast over
But I was
here.
one of the
He was
few
one of the
actors who was there on the first day, 50 years ago.
The first day at the Old Vic.
Yeah. So
You were in the first person to walk on the stage, you told
yeah,
me.
me and Derek Jacobi.
Really? Was Olivier there with you when you walked on that stage?
Well, he was directing the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It was Hamlet, right?
No, Hamlet. Yeah, he directed Hamlet. That's right.
Were you
What was
one
it?
of the men on the, seeing the ghost?
I think I was.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah, I was standing there with a helmet. And then I've been there on and off for 50 years. So last week when the big thing happened, I couldn't stop crying. There were 100 actors on the stage.
Touching.
And all the stage crew came on, 100 stage crew. And it was just overwhelming.
Did you do a performance of something?
Yeah, well, me and Derek Jacobi did a bit of No Man's Land.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
We all did little bits.
Yeah. Of all the people you work for at the National, who was your favorite artistic director?
Oh gosh, that's hard to say. I loved working with Richard Eyre.
Why?
Well, he gave me two wonderful parts.
Night of the
Iguana
yeah, I
and
saw
John
that.
Gabriel Borkman.
Right.
And they were two of my favorite. I mean, I've enjoyed everything I've done there.
Well, Rufus Norris, the new head of the National Theatre, if you're watching, we'll send you this DVD. EILEEN Atkins is available to return to the National Theatre, and I assume Michael Gambon.
I'd like if Rufus would let me back.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to say very quickly, I'm booked next year because I'm going back to the RSC.
Yes, you're doing your one-woman show.
No, not just my
Oh.
one-woman show. I'm doing a very funny old play called The Witch of Edmonton.
Oh, I know
because
that
I'm
play.
mad about Greg Doran,
Yeah.
and he's taken over the RSC.
What's the one-woman show?
The one-woman show is when Ellen Terry retired and couldn't learn any more lines, she used to go around lecturing on women in Shakespeare. And you do a bit of talk about her life in the theatre, and then you go into the Shakespeare. So I do a bit of talk, but as Ellen Terry, and then I do Shakespeare as me. So, I mean, my version. I'm not going to try and do it how she did it. So,
Right.
and I even get to play King Lear in it. So
Oh, good.
You'll be good as that.
it's my best
would
part.
Yeah.
Want to be your Cordelia?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be delighted to. I'd be a good Cordelia.
You would.
Absolutely.
You'd be
I would. I've
touching.
got a feminine quality.
You can't be a good actor without a feminine quality, and he does.
Yeah,
He
it's a
does
bit-
have. He
yeah.
does have a wonderful streak.
And you're on to what are you doing next after this?
I'm supposed to be doing a series for the BBC, but I don't know yet. But in first half of next year.
And the Harry Potter thing
That's finished.
That's
completely.
finished, right?
I was in that for 7 years or something.
That was enough.
Oh, no, well, not enough money. I wish it was still going on.
Have you done any of those?
No. I've just done a Woody Allen movie,
Oh, excellent.
which I absolutely adored doing. I love doing it.
Before we leave, I think I remember you telling me once a very funny bit about your friend Maggie Smith, where she said when she's doing these, whether the Harry Potter movies or the Lord of the Rings movies, she said they would sit around the trailer and say, now which face am I going to Which face am I going to pull or use in this scene?
I think that's more of you. You used to talk about that with Maggie.
Yes, yes. I had to pick Maggie up in the dance sequence. I nearly dropped her one night, remember? Picked her right up in the sky like that. She gave me a bit of a telling off.
You don't take them terribly seriously in England, do you? You do it for...
Yeah,
You do it for the lucre.
That's the dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, you're not doing all that fall, I imagine, for the lucre, but
We
No,
don't
hardly.
get much money on that, do we?
No.
no. But I hope you get as much satisfaction as the audience does from watching you.
Thank you, we do.
Thank you.
It's All That Fall, a radio play by Samuel Beckett, directed by Trevor Nunn, at the 59 East 59th Street, starring two absolutely brilliant actors, our good friend EILEEN Atkins and our new friend, I hope, Michael Gambon. Thank you for being our guest on Theatre Talk tonight.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You can sign up for viewer updates at theatretalk.org.
Or you can follow us on Twitter. Our thanks to the Friends of Theatre Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theatre Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Eleanor Naylor Dana Charitable Trust, the Corey and Bob Donnelly Charitable Fund, the Noel Coward Foundation, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and the New York State Council on the Arts, a state agency.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theatre Talk. Thank you and good night.